Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Mitch Piper, National Membership Director here at the American Society of Tax Problem Solvers. And with me today, we have Larry Lawler, who's the National Director of ASTPS. And we're going to be talking about personally, probably my favorite course, since I'm the marketing guy, is I'm very interested in the our real estate program that we run, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So there's no CP or anything for this. We're just going to be talking about the course. We have a couple spots left for it, and the next one the only one that we're doing probably for the rest of the year is going to be August 16th and 17th at our office in Buffalo. So, Larry, you there?
I am here. Yes, I
All
am.
right. So, why don't you
Okay.
get started and let them know a little bit about
Sure.
it?
Yeah, this is going to be a fairly brief presentation that Mitchell and I are doing for you here, but we just want to give you an idea what this is about. We've had a number of people who call in and well, what's involved in the course, or what do you cover in the course, or how does it work? And people seem a little bit surprised sometimes when we tell them, look, the room is basically limited to 10 people. The reason being that we have a lot of individual training that goes on, and everybody has to participate in it. So it's a very interactive type course. And that's the reason we limited, because everybody wouldn't get an opportunity to do part of the presentations and things like that if in fact we had too many people in the room. So we're just going to give you a quick outline of what it looks like, and if anybody wants to type in questions, they can do that, or too, Mitchell, right, in the
Yeah.
chat box. Okay.
Yeah, we'll go over those at the end. Like
Yeah.
Larry said, this is going to be pretty quick. So.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, introducing myself, I'm a CPA, an EA, a CTRS, NTPI fellow, all those various alphabet soup things. But this is a course that I've created. My background actually is not just being a CPA or an accountant, but it's also in marketing and management. And that's really where I started out in life, and I kind of accidentally became an accountant along the way. But I have taken a couple of different things that I've become certified in, one of which is world-class speaking coaching program. The other is a certified guerrilla marketing coaching program. I married those two concepts together and created this program that we treated as the real estate marketing program. The fact of the matter is we're going to end up changing that name one of these days, because it should be the small business marketing program. It really will apply to almost any industry. Obviously, if you do tax problem resolution work, the industries you should be looking at are things like real estate, attorneys, independent truck drivers, small business owners, people who have a higher incidence than the norm of tax problems. And the idea of this program is that you have a way to do a presentation to them, and you can help them out, give them some good information, be a welcome guest instead of an annoying pest, and have them want to learn about what you do. And we directed at particular industries that we know have a higher incidence of tax problems than others. Real estate professionals happen to be in that group. So that's why you'll see that we're focusing on real estate here, but it really doesn't have to be that. And in fact, most of the people that attend this course, I end up giving them a little bonus of one that I put together that is also good for attorneys. But we've had other past attendees who have adapted it to other industries as well. So let's move on. First of all, I'll tell you what our commitment is on this thing. And this is something that's right out of the beginning of the course. Quite honestly, it's something you'd see in the first few minutes of day one. And we're gonna give you a proven, and by the way, I underline proven, low-cost, innovative method to bring in new fees. And when I say proven, it's because we've done it. We've done it over and over again, and we've gotten significant results out of it as far as the amount of business that following this program has brought in for people. It's low cost because once you come and you attend the course and you've got the materials, in the future you will spend virtually nothing on doing your presentations and getting your audience. And we give you everything you need to do that with. So our commitment is to give you this good program. Obviously, we look for you to make a little commitment too, quite honestly, and that's to go home and implement the thing and prove to yourself that it works. Because if you don't implement it, what good is it? But in addition to that, we're also going to commit to you that we're going to give you the detailed manual with all the information in it, the sample letters, the presentation itself, and it's in such a form that it can be easily modified. We're going to offer 3 months worth of mentoring for anybody who attends the course. So for 3 months after the course, you go home and implement it. We'll be happy to work with you, mentor you, give you insight information, because we've done it so many times. We can pretty much help anybody who's having any kind of a problem. We're also going to give you the customized PowerPoint, so it's not something that you're presenting that you got from us. This is your presentation, and you get to be the guru in front of the room with it. And we're going to give you samples of things, obviously, of different things and sample forms that you can use to administer this program and make it truly effective. So very quickly, I'm just going to take, and this is again a slide right out of the presentation itself. It's the roadmap that you follow when we get involved in it. So first of all, we talk about what we're going to cover and that sort of thing. Step one is the world-class speaking competencies, and we spend a fair amount of time on the first day teaching you how to go about making a presentation, making it comfortable for yourself, and knowing what a professional speaker does to be effective in front of the room. And by the way, you don't have to come in here being, you know, a Ronald Reagan or a Winston Churchill or something like that to do these presentations. You've got the basic knowledge. If you're a CPA, an EA, an attorney, you have the skills to do this, and it's nothing more than basically having a conversation, but you've got multiple people listening at once. So that's what it boils down to, and we give you the tools and make it work. We've had numerous people, all different backgrounds, take these courses. Anyone from someone who, you know, works in the farm country, working with farmers, up to someone who works with high-level attorneys. And just makes no difference. You can do this, and you can do it for all different groups. We will give you the content that belongs in the presentation and show you why the way we've constructed it is critical, why it's important to have the elements that we've built into it so that you can get the speaking engagements and be that welcome guest, if you will, when you come. People want you to come rather than, you know, allowing you to come is what it boils down to. We teach you all the various delivery techniques, as far as speaking goes and things that make it easier for you. We will then move from that, once we've covered that material, into the guerrilla marketing competencies and the types of things that a guerrilla marketer does. And if you're not familiar with that concept, basically guerrilla marketing is something designed for small businesses who don't necessarily have a lot of money to invest in marketing, but are willing to invest some effort and some of their time and their creativity in it. And we cover those types of topics and give you insight as to that. We'll give you then also all of the presentation materials that are needed, the sample letters. Going over into session 7 there, we'll actually do a demonstration of this presentation for you so that you see how it works and what's built into it, and we'll do some analysis of it as we do that. We'll also then do the one thing that will put you a little bit out of your comfort zone. And we tell people right up front, if you aren't willing to get a little bit out of your comfort zone, then you're going to sit right where you are and you're not going to make any progress and you're not going to grow your practice, because the only way you make things happen is to step a little out of your comfort zone. If you want to just sit back and stay where you are, this probably isn't a course for you. So bottom line of it is, we do tell you right up front, you will be stepping a little out of your comfort zone, because even if you're an experienced speaker, you're speaking on a different topic that's all been created and specifically designed to achieve its end here. So you're going to have to learn how to do that. So even if you're an experienced speaker, you're going to have something to learn, and you got to practice it. And then we're going to do the question and answer period, and then we will do a wrap up after that. This course takes 2 days. We have 10 people in the room. It's limited to that, and everybody participates. It's, by the way, a totally judgment-free zone. People are not going to come into this room and be, looking at it and making judgments. People, it's all got to be constructive criticism on the way through, and we are adamant about it being handled that way. It doesn't mean that we won't tell someone, hey, if we think you're doing something wrong, or we think you could do it better, and tell you what it is. Honesty is also part of this. So, you want to be tactful but honest is what we're kind of saying, just like it tells you on the slide there. There are differences in people. People have different ways of approaching their presentation. Perfectly okay. We understand that, and we will help you to work with that. We also think that, by the way, you should be willing to take criticism without feeling like, oh, you hurt my feelings. If somebody tells you something that they think you could do better, or that they think maybe you were doing wrong, that it's intended to help you avoid having problems when you're actually going out and doing it. That's why you have to do it while we're here on site and practicing it. Better to learn it in front of your friendly group rather than learning it in front of your first actual presentation. And I always like to point out that the people who come to this course are in fact a truly elite group of individuals. First of all, people who are willing to represent taxpayers before the IRS are among the professionals, CPAs, EAs, attorneys. We are a small group of the total number of professionals that have those licenses. And, there are not that many of them who voluntarily want to work for or clients or represent clients before the IRS. So that puts you into a small group to begin with if you're willing to do that. Take that and add to it the willingness to do public speaking of any sort about this tax problem resolution work. You'll find that you are in a very small, rare, and unique group. And once you have this skill, you have a leg up on almost anybody. So bottom line of it is that we want you to walk out of here knowing that you're a member of the elite group and that you really, in fact, can get yourself into a position where you can almost turn the spigot on and off as far as bringing business in by how many times you go and do these speaking engagements. And when you get real busy, you can back off on doing them for a little while and then go back to doing it again and have it just crank it right up again. So it's a tool that once you have it, you've got it permanently. Mitchell has given you just an idea for, and no one, people who have not been to our offices ever before or anything like that, it's always nice to know where you're going. So I've given you, or Mitchell's actually given you a picture there of the entrance to our office, and next to it, a picture of our conference room. In that particular setup, by the way, Mitchell, the one you've got in there is one in the U shape. Very often it's also set up in a classroom style, but we put it together what we think is best for the group that we're working with. And moving on from that one, I think you also put in there some pictures of actually when the class was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows you the group of people there and getting along. That one's set up classroom style on that one, isn't it?
Yep.
That's where we were doing the presentation. This one, actually, that next picture you've got there is one of the rare ones that we did other than in our Buffalo offices. That was actually done in a hotel, and we've done a couple of times in like January because people just didn't want to wait till August, and there was enough demand for it. So we went someplace that it wasn't snowy Buffalo, like Orlando, and we did the presentation down there. But that's pretty rare. We've only done that once or twice over the years. Typically, it's run in our offices, and people seem to like that because if you're in the area of tax problem resolution, and they know that in our firm we've been doing tax problem resolution for years, it's the mainstay of our practice, that they want to come to our office and get the tour through the office and see how it is we do things. And between you and I, to me, it's not that there's any special magic. It's an office, but we're more than happy to share what we do, how we do it, and let you get the flavor of how we set up our tax problem resolution practice. So that would be part of it. If you're coming to Buffalo, you get that thrown in just because we do it here. This one's a little bit more recent picture where you can see the big TV screen in the middle that we use to demonstrate the presentation. That's one of our attendees there getting ready to give his presentation. And after that, the next thing we have, Mitchell, I'm going to let you jump in here and do a little on the pricing and that sort of thing and how it works. I know you got payment options and whatever else. And if I explain those to them, I'll probably get it wrong. So I'll let you do it.
Yeah, no problem. And if you guys have questions, there's a few of you already have typed them in. Just keep typing them in. We'll go through them, everything, any questions that you have at the end. But basically the pricing, how it works, it pretty much only makes sense to be a gold member. So if you're not a gold member, or if you're not a member at all, you would become a gold member. That's $420. If you're a bronze or silver member, you would upgrade, so you just pay the difference. and then yeah, we'll break it into 3 payments. So the payments will start today. So if you or whenever you register, there's only 2 spots left, and I'm assuming they're going to be gone by probably by 5 o'clock. So if they would start today, and then you would break it down into the 3 payments. The next one will be a month from now, and then 2 months from now. So so it's kind of an interesting situation. So if you we had somebody actually in January who did this exact same thing. So she signed up, she paid her 1/3 down, and then she actually conducted her first meeting. Actually, do you remember when it was, Larry? Didn't she do it like a week after?
Yep,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
something crazy.
Right.
So she actually went out and she actually had the presentation set up before before she actually came and learned it. And
Right.
then so she came, she learned everything, and then she went out and actually did the presentation. So she actually made her money back before she even finished paying us for the course, which was pretty interesting. So if you're motivated and you want to do it, that is an option for you. But yeah, it pretty much only makes sense to be a gold member. So but you just give us a call. We'll set up your payment plan for you and everything, and then that's pretty much it. Do you want to go to the next slide?
Yeah, sure, I can do that as long as you're done with that. There you
All
go.
right. So, yeah. So I'll just go over a little bit of the logistics of the event. So we're in Buffalo. If you come, you want to fly into the Buffalo Niagara Airport. Last year or the year before, I had somebody call and say, "How far are you from JFK?" Replied that you're going to have about an 8-hour bus ride. So you're going to make sure you want to go to the Buffalo Night. And actually, LG Brooks, one of our speakers, was just in town Monday and Tuesday, and he flew into Niagara Falls Airport, which is like right near my house, but it's about 45 minutes away. So you're going to want to fly into the Buffalo Niagara Airport. It's about 5 minutes from our office. And then we recommend staying at Salvatore's Grand Hotel. And there's 2 different hotels. There's the Garden Hotel and the Grand Hotel. You want to stay at the Grand Hotel. It's a very nice independently owned hotel. They have a shuttle that'll pick you up from the airport. It'll drive you back to the hotel, and then we also coordinate with them, and they'll drive you over to our office every morning and pick you up at night. So you don't have to rent a car. You don't have, you don't have to worry about any of those extra expenses. Although if you did rent a car and you were interested, you could drive up to Niagara Falls, which is only about a half hour from here, while you're in town, and check that out if you've never seen it. Definitely worth checking out if you're going to be around.
Right. You know what, Mitchell? Take a second to talk a little bit more about Salvatore's Hotel, because when I go out of town, I kind of want to know where I'm staying, what it's like, and that sort of thing. This is a 5-star hotel.
Oh yeah.
With extremely low rates. I mean, the group that just left Buffalo here for our mastermind group was saying, I just can't believe this hotel and how low their rates are. I think what were they paying? $90 a night or something?
It's like, I think it's like 119. They have a business rate, but yeah, I mean, you can see there's a jacuzzi right in I think they pretty much all the business. If you say you're traveling for business, they put you automatically in one of the jacuzzi suites. So yeah, no, it's a really nice hotel. Salvatore he used to buy, for those of you guys who watch football, he used to buy out the Bills tickets so that they would be on TV so that everybody could see the game. So there has been no expenses spared in this hotel. It's a really nice hotel. And he has a really nice restaurant too, which actually I didn't mention that. So we actually, part of coming is we take everybody out to lunch. Depending on time. The second day we usually order lunch in, but you don't have to worry about leaving at all during the day or anything like that.
Right. And your rides back and forth, as you mentioned, are all taken care of, so you don't need to rent a car unless you want it for some particular reason. So
yeah.
As far as how they would register, I see you got it here. Never mind. How they would register, who to contact.
Yeah, just give Carol and I a call. Actually, I hear her talking to somebody right now. I'm not sure. I thought I heard her. Maybe she's registering somebody. But basically, there's 2 spots left as of right now. Like Larry had said, it's limited to 10. So if it's something that you want to do, you're probably gonna have to call us as soon as you can to save your spot. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll set you up with a payment plan.
I think you do, and I just want to make sure I'm not misspeaking for you. Do you set up a wait list or a list for people who, if they don't get in?
Yeah, Yeah, so anybody, if we will do a wait list, and then we'll also put you on a list. I mean, it's possible if we have enough interest, we could possibly run another one. Maybe the beginning of next year or something like that. I know that was one of the questions that somebody asked. Will there be a session in LA in January? Probably not. It's not. We don't have anything scheduled right now. It's possible we might do one someplace else, but I doubt it's going to be Los Angeles if it
It's
is.
more likely to be East Coast.
Yeah,
That's an honest answer. It's more likely to be East Coast.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. I can go through, if you guys have some questions, we have quite a few here. We can start going through those. And if you have anything you want to ask, just type them in. But so that was the first one. Are we going to be doing it in LA? Like we said, probably not. Let's see. Has the realtor presentation materials been changed or updated based on the new tax law? You want to answer that one?
Well, basically, the tax law that we get into in this presentation is pretty light. Keep in mind, you're not talking to people who are experts in tax in any manner, way, shape, or form. In fact, quite honestly, you might think that they're just the opposite, that they've ignored tax. The information in the course will be current for tax information, that's proper, it's correct, it's up to date, and that sort of thing. But when people ask that question, they sometimes are thinking that, well, we got to know a lot of tax, or there's a lot of tax information. The people you're speaking to are realtors, they are truckers, they are small businessmen, they might even be attorneys. None of those groups are people who are going to be asking difficult tax questions. Yes, the material is going to be current, but to answer that question directly. However, I also don't want someone walking away with the impression that, oh man, I'm going to get up there and somebody's going to ask me a tricky tax question. I'm not going to be able to answer it. We do, by the way, also cover how to handle, people answering questions, live questions from a group and that sort of thing. That's part of the course. But as far as the actual course itself goes, yeah, the material is going to be current, certainly, but it's not something where you've got to be concerned about that either. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. So let's get rid of that one. What kind of groups do we speak to, and how do we get them to have us speak? Do you want to just talk about how you get the meetings a little bit? I know that was a couple of things I've talked to people on the phone that have been kind of concerned about.
When we're looking at, depends on the group, first of all. So let's say the group we're talking about happens to be real estate professionals in this particular case. The way you get the meetings for them is they have, which is very convenient for us, they have weekly sales meetings. You get invited to speak as a guest speaker. Typically, they'll give you up to 45 minutes, sometimes less, sometimes more, but they'll give you time to do a presentation for their group. And we give you the letters to get to, who to address them to, how to get the speaking engagement, how to handle that, scheduling of it, so on and so forth. And then once you've got the speaking engagements lined up, we always tell people, by the way, don't send out 20 of these letters that we give you all at once, because you may find that you actually aggravate some people when they call back and say, okay, we'd like you to come. And you say, well, I've got the next 10 weeks booked because I sent out so many letters. You're better off to send out a small number of letters, get a few weeks booked, and then send out another group after that, so that you can react to people rather quickly. So, but we give you the letters to send to them. Now, just as an aside from that, I'm talking about the real estate group. You might take this same exact material and present it. One of the things I've done is I've presented it to a group of attorneys in a law office where they had, I believe they had about 18 attorneys who were in the meeting room. And we presented it just in their small one office. They just did it for their own people, but they had me come in and do the presentation for them. It was basically that bonus presentation that I give people who come for this course, so that they have another one already done and already modified for a law office. You could also do, I've spoken before, a luncheon meeting for small contractors. I'll give you one example: Painting and Decorating Contractors Association, PDCA. Might have you come in and speak before their group at lunch and while they're having their monthly meeting, or if they have a monthly meeting in the evening, they might have you come in and speak for that. So the bottom line is that it depends a little bit on the group that you're talking about, that how you go about getting the engagements, but we do discuss all of that in the course. I think that answers the question they were looking for there. Mitchell?
Sorry, I had myself muted.
I couldn't hear you. That's why. By the way, there was one question up there about the hours of the course, and is there a discount for gold members? I think you answered the discount and all of that when you're talking about the pricing, but the hours of the course basically are from, I think we usually start at around 8:30, 9 o'clock and go until 5 o'clock each day.
Yeah. Yeah, I found a video of you actually doing it. I've never used the video feature on here, so I'm not. Can you see the video playing right now?
I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
Oh yeah, for some reason it's not showing up on my screen. But yeah, this is a quick a little clip of Larry actually doing the presentations in real estate offices.
Did you want me to do something with that, Mitchell?
No. Is it playing?
No, it's not playing. It's just, I don't see it playing. It's just sitting on my screen. I can see the beginning of it.
Huh. No big deal. I just thought this is like a practice. Usually our webinars, we have like 1,500 people on them. So there's only like 100 on here. So I'm experimenting a little bit. All right. So that didn't work. I'll have to figure that out.
All right. Well, let's go back to the questions, make sure we answer them.
Let's see.
How about the Rosbrook question? How is this different from Rosbrook's marketing program? First of all, Michael's program, which by the way, I highly recommend to people. Michael and I are good friends, have been for many, many years, and he's got a great program. And I recommend to people that, if you want to really get into marketing and things like that, Michael's program is a great way to do it. The difference here is that Michael's program often is, by the way, a program that you sign up for, a monthly membership, and you get involved in all different aspects of marketing. This is one particular form of marketing. We call it presentation marketing, where you get in front of a group of people and have that personal interaction with several people at one time, which leverages your time tremendously. But a lot of the concepts that you might use in any marketing program are in this, just like they are in Michael's program. Just by way of background for anybody who's listening, Michael ran his own tax problem resolution company, a very large company built out on the West Coast in LA. Had like 100 employees doing tax problem resolution work. And he just kind of got burned out from working too hard at it and decided he wanted to go teach people how to market, because he learned how to do that very, very well running a firm that big and building one that big. But prior to that, we used to run a marketing boot camp. But when Michael said he wanted to go do that, I said, good, I'll leave the marketing boot camp alone. I won't do that anymore. But this was one very narrow focused marketing piece that I told Michael right from the beginning that we would keep that as part of our member services. But it isn't that you would do this or that. It depends on how much marketing you want to do. It's more likely that at some time or another, you'd end up doing both, quite honestly. So that's the best answer I can give you on Michael's program. I certainly wouldn't tell you it's not a good program, because I know personally it is. So what else you got there? You got other ones there, Mitchell?
Yeah, somebody's asking for, by the way, we actually just had a registration, so we only have one spot left for August. But so what's the question here? Oh, give an example of subjects for the presentation. So basically the presentation is broken down into 3 parts. So the first part, you talk about how you are going to actually help the real estate professional do their job better. So removing liens, things like that, properties, helping out their clients, getting proof of mortgages, things like that. So then the second part, you're showing them how you can actually help them save money on their taxes. And then the third part is how to prevent and solve tax problems. So I think it's fair to say that if you get a fair amount of tax prep work along with the representation work, wouldn't you say, Larry?
Yep. And it's actually a 3-pronged approach. If we just went in to talk about, if you have a tax problem, we can help you, you probably wouldn't get invited. What's going to happen is that we go in because we're going to show you how to do your job better. And maybe if you run into a federal tax lien, how to get that deal closed. And then we're going to show you things you ought to be doing on your own personal tax return. They want that stuff. They want you to come in and tell them that. While we're here, we're also going to tell you that if you happen to have a tax problem or know someone who does, we're going to show you that we can help you with that too. So that may be our ulterior motive for being there. The fact that we want to talk about tax problem resolution. But you've got to have a reason for them to invite you. And that's why it's got to be a three-pronged approach to work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I know some people I think it's going to be more difficult than it is to actually get the real estate offices to invite, to accept your invitation to come in. But you want to go into a little bit more detail on that? And I mean, they do these kinds of things all the time. So
right. There's someone asking, how can she get the presentation before the course so they can make their money back before the class? So I think there was a little misunderstanding on what you explained earlier.
Yeah, I'll explain it again. So for in January we had an attendee, right? So she registered a month before, just kind of like the exact same situation we're in right now. I talked to her. I can't remember if I did or not, but I would be more than probably, it would be an issue at all. I could give you the letters to send out to real estate offices. So she reached out to a bunch of real estate offices in her area. She set up the meetings for after the presentation, after she came to learn how to do everything. So she set it up for like a week or a week and a half after she came and met with us in Los Angeles. So she got the meeting, she came to our class, she learned how to do everything, and then she immediately went and gave her first presentation before her second payment was due, because we do 3 payments. So that's what I was saying.
Right, and in that presentation, she generated new business. And basically, let's face it, if she got one tax problem resolution client out of it, it was enough to more than pay for her investment in the whole course, which she hadn't even remitted yet.
Right. And that's a good point that we didn't actually mention. I mean, for most of you guys, especially if you're members, you know this by now, or if you're doing the work. But the average tax resolution case, I mean, we're in Buffalo, New York. We're not in New York City. And I think it would be fair to say our average case is between $3,000 and $5,000. And we're in a very blue collar area. So if you can relate to that, then this will definitely work for you. And one case will cover the travel expenses and the fee to come to the class.
Right. And there's 1 or 2 people who said they have a conflict for the time we're doing it and they want to be updated. We will do that. If anyone else other than the ones who've already typed it in, type that into the chat box. Mitchell will add you to the list if there was any potential. What he was talking about earlier is one year we had filled the course up, and we had people actually getting mad at us, which we don't want that to happen, saying, no, I wanted to get into that, and now it's all filled up. I can't get in. And we said, look, here's what the deal is. If we can get 10 more people who want to come, we'll just run another one for you, and we'll do it sometime pretty quickly. But if we don't have those 10 people, there's no point in us running it. It just doesn't work for us. So if you want to be on a list for a potential second date, which I don't know what it would be, we'd contact you at that point in time, you can put that in here. I mean, at the moment, I'm rather convinced that this course is going to be filled literally momentarily. So anybody who is interested, great.
Yeah.
Okay. And a couple of people, thank you, by the way, for the couple of people who said, I'm already registered. So that's good.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. So if you want, you could type in the chat box or send me an email, and we could put you on the list for a future present date. But please do keep in mind though that it's not gonna, when we pick the date, we have to stick with it. We can't keep moving it around to help satisfy one person. It has to be, we kind of just have to pick it and stick with it. So it's possible we're going to pick a date and then we're going to call you and let you know, and it might still not work out for you. We can't we can't move it around, keep moving them around.
All right.
But,
Also, John D asked the question there that he missed the first few minutes. He wants to know if this is more for, tax preparation and S corporation stuff or tax resolution. It is really intended to build your tax resolution practice. That's what it's for. Will it build your tax preparation practice? Absolutely. I find that in a typical presentation, I might, over a period of a couple of months after doing a presentation, I might end up getting, let's say, 5 cases. 3 of them could be nothing more than tax prep cases where, well, the guy hasn't done a couple of years. So those 3 guys who didn't do a couple of years, that generated 6 tax returns at, $600 a piece. That's $3,600 of revenues. But the other 2 cases were tax problem resolution cases, and if they average, $4,000, let's say, that's another $8,000 worth of revenue. So for a 45-minute talk, I've seen situations many times where I generate $8,000 worth of resolution work and $3,000 or $4,000 worth of compliance work. Not bad for a 45-minute presentation, and costs a heck of a lot less than running ads in the newspaper and sending out mailers or whatever else you do. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty self-explanatory course and idea. I mean, the whole thing is you're going to get once you come, you have everything you need to get started. So there's an upfront expense to come to the class and learn everything, but you leave with a customized PowerPoint that has all your own information on it. You could literally, just like our attendee in January did, her presentation was a week later. We sent her the PowerPoint. She had everything. She printed the handouts. She brought them to her presentation, and she was off and running. So, like I said, once you come, you get everything, you're good to go. You're all ready to get started. So, but I think that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I really don't. I think we just wanted to answer. We had so many different questions about it. The reason we did this is so that we could just answer a whole bunch of people all at once, rather than having the same conversation over and over again. But I think that there is 1 or 2 people in there that ask if this is similar to what it has been in the past. Well, the material for the presentation may be a little bit different because the tax law changes and things like that. But the bottom line of it is that we are, teaching the same thing here, how to do a presentation before a group and end up getting tax problem resolution business out of it. So if you've been here before and you already have all the materials, you might just update your PowerPoint and go ahead and go do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So average time for presentation was one other one I wanted to answer. Typically, we plan on 45 minutes, but I've had times where I did one and they said, we can only give you a half an hour. Well, rather than trying to jam everything in, and we teach you how to do this, we show you how to give them part of it, and then you get invited back to give a second part because now they've got a flavor of it and they want the rest of it. Other times I've been scheduled to speak for 45 minutes where I figured I could get the whole presentation in. I ended up being there 2.5 hours. But it's also the ones that I ended up with the most business almost immediately out of it because they had so many questions and so much interest that, in fact, in a couple of instances, they canceled going out on tour, which is what the real estate professionals call going out to see all their new listings. So they were going to go out on tour. They canceled it for that day after the sales meeting was supposed to happen, and they kept me there talking instead, and the sales manager was willing to let them do that. So, can the time vary? Yeah, it can vary quite a bit. What I do is I just block out the morning. So if I'm going to go in and do a talk at 9 o'clock in the morning, I just block out the whole morning. So if I get done by 10:30, great, I go for coffee. That's all there is to it. Yeah. Other than that, I didn't see any other questions that I thought.
Yeah, one other thing, because actually somebody who's already registered and coming, I can't remember who exactly it was. She might actually be on here right now. If you have any past experience as a real estate agent, this is actually going to be even that much more effective for you because you're going to be able to relate back to them so much better than most of us could. So I just wanted to throw that out there. There might be somebody out there. This particular person is actually still a real estate agent, so it's going to be even better for her. But if you have a background in real estate or anything like that, yeah, it's Melinda. Yeah, absolutely, that's who it was. So it's going to be interesting, interesting to see how she does. But yeah, if you have a background in it, it could be a great option for you.
Right.
But by no means is that required.
No, not at all. Okay. Well, should we let them go? They've been very attentive, and
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody signing in and allowing us to do this explanation all at once. It helps a great deal for preserving a little of our time too. So we appreciate you investing yours with us. And thanks again. I'm going to say goodbye, Mitchell.
All right. Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone.
All right.
We'll be here all afternoon for the next 2.5 hours. So just give us a call if you have any questions.
Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Take care.
Bye.